Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of Interplanetary I Spy here. I'll try not to take too long on this one. Try and keep it under 10 minutes. I will have links to all these images, as usual, in the description. And you can download these things and look at them yourself. Now, the image here is going right back to Sol 36. And there's a few things in this image which I thought were very interesting indeed. Now, I don't claim to have discovered the main anomaly here. That credit will go to Martine Grainey, who's part of the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, and can be seen in this video, which I will link to. And she can, what she does here is analyse the image and describe it in detail. And I think she does a very, very good job. She's restored the image pretty well there as well. Nice job there. And it's called UFA Favourite Images Part 3. There's one of the Zoom Club images. So she's been being interviewed by Mikey Schrader Jensen, and there's a few other people in this video as well who were very interesting. And let's crack on with it. Let's have a look at the image. Now, she's obviously already done a good job of this, but I really thought my subscribers deserve to see this, because this is an absolutely brilliant find, and I'm surprised I haven't seen it before. So I really thought I'd do a bit of work on this, and I spent about a day working on it to try and restore the image to something like it might have looked before it was damaged by NASA. So here's a raw clip of it, and as you can see when you zoom in, it's very blocky, and there's compression lines going all over it. So it's quite badly damaged, but you can even so, you can see some detail here. You can see a face here with an eye and a nose, and you can see a nose here, the male, and an eye and a chin, and you can see an arm here, the woman's arm. This is her arm here coming round. Okay, and what looks like a bag here, and a possible another bag or basket here, and I think the woman's leg here. Okay, so as far as I can tell, I would agree with Martine on this, because as soon as I looked at it and saw her explain it, I thought, well, yeah, I mean, what else could it be, really? I think she's done a cracking job there of interpreting this image. Now, here's one of my earlier enhancements. Now, this has just been blurred a bit. A little bit of Gaussian blur will clean up the image and get rid of those blocks, compression blocks. And I've just white balanced it and added some contrast, and now you're starting to see some detail, but I will push on a bit because it does get better. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, let's go back one. Okay, now here's a slightly better enhanced version of it, where I've sharpened it up a bit and added some highlighting. I've basically lightened parts of it so it stands out better, and darkened. I've added some extra shadow in the contrast to help bring out the image. And you can see here what looks like an arm and a hand perhaps here holding what looks like a bag here. You can see some material just in there, and what looks like the remains of a leg here with a bone, and possibly a foot or shoe there. Now, these are very small, this couple, if they are a couple, and they certainly look like one. If they were stood up, these would only probably be 2 foot tall. These are really quite small. These are dwarf people. And as I've said before, judging by a lot of the finds that I've found in the last few years, items of clothing and shoes and other things and objects, they are very small, and I did pontificate they might belong to children, but actually I'm thinking that basically there were some Martians that were around 2 foot tall. There were others which were more human size, about 5 or 6 foot or 7 foot tall. And maybe there was more than 2 or 3 different types of Martians. They could have had dwarf people and very tall people. We really don't know yet, but judging by the many artifacts I found, it does kind of fit what I've been finding, and other people have been finding things as well that lead us to believe that they were, at least some of them were very small. So there you go. But you can see here already, with just an increase in contrast and brightness, You can see already that there's an eye here and a nose, and some hair just here. And the guy over here is wearing a funny little hat, and he's got a big nose and a kind of witch-like chin, pointy chin. And you can even see a blue eye there with a pupil just there. Now, if they were freeze-dried, which they may well have been, then amazing detail would be seen. If you could see this in real life, it would look a lot more like this. Now, I've spent quite a lot of time on this and really tried to restore it to what I think it would have looked like before it was heavily damaged by NASA. And you can see what looks like one of her left hand is actually holding on to her right arm here, her wrist, with what look like fingers. I could be wrong there, but they're in a sort of death posture, as if they were taking shelter from an explosion or something bad, and they've kind of slumped over together and have become freeze-dried in the sand. And of course the rather saline sand would have mummified them together, and they could have been there a very, very long time, but I think only since 1941, or perhaps even later. There may have been many explosions on Mars in the last 100 years, or in the last million years. There would have been multiple explosions up there, possibly from Olympus Mons as well, which is an absolutely enormous volcano, and could have wiped out. There could have been many extinction events. We really don't know the actual history, but if you look carefully at this rock here, it's got some interesting interwoven parts to it, and it looks kind of like a basket. I mean, this may well be a mixture of objects that they've got or were carrying, with also one or two rocks as well. And if you look down at the bottom here, it looks like a gun, a handgun, a very small handgun with a trigger guard here and a handle on the left there, and like a little barrel, very short barrel on the right here. Now, I could be wrong, it could be something else, but I have found what looks like a handgun on Mars, which is also quite small and was only between about 4 and 7 inches long, which is actually quite small. I mean, we do have miniature pistols on Earth, like the Derringer, but I actually think that they're dwarf items. They're made for people that are much smaller. And I did quite a lot of work on this, and I tried to bring out the detail, and there's some strange object here which I can't determine, like something strange here. Looks like some kind of tool or something. And there's some interesting detail in here. I can't quite make out what it is. And she looks like she's kind of holding a bag here. And it also looks like there's something in her hair, like tying her hair in a sort of bun almost here. And she's got a sleeve of some kind of garment, like a dress or something. This kind of light blue, whitish colour here that's her right shoulder there, I think. Right shoulder, yeah. And you can see her face and eyes. I've obviously restored this a bit and tried to bring the detail out in the nose and mouth. The guy over this side, I can't make out where his arms are. They may well be underneath this thing here, which may be a large bag or basket or something. His right arm may be behind her and kind of grabbing her around the waist or something. It's hard to say, but it could have been torn off. You know, we don't know. We don't know where his left arm is. You can't see it, but it's probably underneath all this stuff here. But you can see some extraordinary detail here. But once you restore the image and take your time with it, you can even see his eye, which is a deep blue colour, which is really quite amazing, really. I'm still amazed by this image, I really am. I've taken a clip of it there and just crop that out. So there you go. What do you think of that? I will put clips of these in at the end of the video, like I always do for you, so you can really pause them and look at them properly on full screen in HD. Okay? And there was one or two other things that interested me in this image. If you look at it, I'll show you the raw image again. Over to the left here, here's the couple the mummified Martian couple here. Now over to the left there looks to be what looks like some kind of jar, or perhaps something they were carrying, like a water carrier. Now I'll show you the clip. There's not much detail to be seen here, to be honest. It's so badly compressed, this image. You can see that about 50 or 60% of the detail is missing from this image, where it's been resized and stuff. But you can see what looks like a very round object with what looks like something attached to it. Now this could be a jar or some kind of water carrier. Couldn't tell you for sure. But the fact that it's near what looked like a couple of dead Martians dictates to me that it could be a water carrier or something that they were carrying. It could be some kind of jar or glass, or it could be made of leather, it could be made of pottery, it could be clay, whatever. Don't know. Very hard to say. But it doesn't look that clear when you get too close to it, so it's better to actually look at it from further back. And there was this other thing which I thought was rather strange, a rock, another gravity-defying rock on Mars, which is in the back of the image. It's probably just a rock, but it must be largely buried on this side for it to hover like this above the ground, which is really quite odd. Very strange that, I thought. It may be much longer here and be buried in the sand, and we're just seeing the very top part of it. It could be part of something, who knows? It's really hard to say. It doesn't look manufactured, it just looks very strange. Just thought I'd show you that for a laugh, because these things are quite funny, some of them. But it's quite sad when you see this image. I find it quite upsetting, really. I mean, they must have had a hard time up there, and the thing is, they could have been just caught out at night in a sandstorm or something, and then got frozen. It does get very cold at night even in Gale Crater, which is much warmer than most of Mars. At night it goes down to about -30. Even in the summer, and it does get very cold indeed. But these looked like they were huddled together to try and shelter or keep warm, and they were probably blast frozen in a matter of seconds. And if you went up to these people and pushed them, they would probably crumble or break into pieces, where they're so dried out and mummified, basically naturally mummified. So who knows what happened to them, but it certainly looks like they were in the area when the disaster struck, and they tried to take shelter and were preserved there forever, or at least until someone from NASA comes along and destroys the evidence. So there we go, that's the image. I just thought it was absolutely amazing image, this one, and it's well worth downloading. And even if you don't enhance it, you can see that there's two people here, two little dwarf people. So there you go. Answers on the postcard, people. Tell me what you think. Add your comments below. This is an absolute stunner, this one. And as I said before, full credit to Martine for this one, Martine Grainey. I will have a link to this video and her various pages below. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. More images coming up that you can pause and have a closer look at. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon.